Will you give me a chance? Not the kind you give a stranger with a nice smile. I mean, the kind you give when your heart has been bruised enough to stop believing in good things. Because tonight, I did something I almost never admit out loud. I asked God about my future wife, and what he said didn't come like lightning or a sign in the sky. It came like a quiet answer, pressed against my ribs, like someone whispering through the dark. Stop looking for noise. Start looking for home. It's 7. And that's the part that scared me, not the idea of love. I've been surrounded by love-shaped things. Attention, admiration, people reaching for me like I'm a doorway to some brighter life. But real love, the kind that doesn't ask for proof, the kind that doesn't perform, the kind that stays when the room gets cold. That's the thing I don't know how to ask for without feeling exposed. It's late, the kind of music late where the world stops pretending to be kind. This house is too quiet for a man who's seen too much. The halls are long, the ceilings are high, and everything echoes every footstep, every breath, every thought. I try to drown out during the day. I can fill rooms, I can fill schedules, I can fill the air with noise, but I can't fill the space right here, the space that only a real person can reach. And I hate how honest the silence is. Music, sometimes I sit on the edge of the bed and listen to my own heartbeat like it's a stranger knocking. Sometimes I stare at the glow of a screen and wonder how many times a man can type a message and delete it before he starts to feel ridiculous. Because what do you even say when you're tired of being impressive? What do you say when you don't want to be admired? You want to be held? I've met people who could talk for hours and never touch my soul. I've met people who could laugh beside me and still make me feel completely alone. And then, every once in a while, I imagine you not as some fantasy, not as a trophy, not as a headline, music, just you in a soft light in a quiet kitchen, barefoot, real. The kind of presence that doesn't try to take anything from me, the kind that simply says you can breathe here. That's what the answer felt like when I asked God about my future wife. Not a name, not a face, a feeling, a steady warmth in a world that keeps trying to turn everything into metal. Maybe you felt it too. That exhaustion, like you've carried everyone else long enough that you forgot what it's like to be carried. Like people look through you now, like your softness is too much, like your loyalty is old-fashioned. But the truth is, I'm not looking for someone new. I'm looking for someone true, someone who doesn't fall in love with a story, someone who wants the person behind the shadows. Because when the doors close, when the lights go out, when the day finally stops demanding things from me, it isn't the noise I miss. It's the simplest thing, a voice in the dark saying, come here. Not because I'm powerful, not because I'm useful, not because I can change the world, just because I'm human. And I don't know why I'm telling you this like you're the only person left. Maybe because right now it feels like you might be. So tell me, are you listening? And if you are, what would it take for you to give a man like me a real chance? I keep thinking about you in the places nobody. Films. Not in the spotlight, not dressed up, not ready. I mean the real you, the you who stands at the sink when the house is finally quiet, staring at the last plate like it weighs more than it should. The you who folds laundry with a kind of patience that feels holy, even if nobody ever thanks you. The you who smiles in photos and then goes to bed with that little ache in your chest that you never say out loud. People don't talk about that part. They don't talk about how a woman can spend her whole life being the glue, and then one day she turns a certain age and the world starts acting like she's become invisible. Like your softness expired, like your loyalty is too much, like your love is something people should receive but never return. And I hate that because I know what it is to be surrounded and still unseen. I've been in rooms where everyone wanted a piece of me, my time, my attention, my name, and still somehow I'd walk out feeling like a ghost. There's a special kind of loneliness that happens when people only love what you can do for them. They'll clap for you. They'll smile at you. They'll praise you like you're a miracle. But none of it reaches the place that matters. None of it touches the part of you that goes quiet at night. The part that just wants to lay your head down and hear someone breathe beside you. Not because they're impressed, but because they're home. That's why when I think about my future wife, I don't picture perfection. I picture a woman who's lived, a woman who's been disappointed and didn't turn bitter, a woman who's been left out and still kept her heart soft, a woman who knows the difference between a man who talks sweet and a man who is safe. Because you don't need fireworks when you've already survived the storm. You need steadiness. You need someone who notices the quiet things, the way your shoulders drop when you finally sit down, the way your eyes look when you've been strong for too long, the way you laugh a little smaller now, like you learn not to take up too much space. But listen, if I'm honest, I don't want you to shrink. Not with me, I want the version of you that people missed because they were too busy looking for something younger, louder, easier. The world acts like love is for the fresh and fearless, but the love I crave feels like it belongs to two people who've been through enough to stop playing games. Two people who don't need to prove anything, just two hearts. Two tired hearts choosing each other in the quiet. I keep thinking maybe that's why the answer felt like a whisper and not a shout. Because the woman meant for me wouldn't be chasing noise. She'd be living her life, doing what she has to do, holding it together, praying nobody notices how heavy it can get. And maybe she'd hear a voice like mine tonight and feel something in her chest shift. Not excitement, relief, like, oh, so I'm not crazy for wanting something real. Music, willing need our proverbs. Tell me something. When was the last time someone truly saw you? Not your role, not what you do for everyone, but you. And be honest, do you ever feel like you're invisible, even when you're standing right there? It happened on a night like this. Not dramatic, not cinematic, just quiet. The kind of quiet that makes you hear things you spend all day avoiding. Your own breathing, your own thoughts, the soft creak-o. The house settling like it's tired too. I was sitting alone with one light on. Everything around me looked expensive and meaningless at the same time. Smooth surfaces, clean lines, cold beauty, and none of it could answer the one question that kept circling my chest like a moth trapped in a jar. Who is she? Not because I want a person to complete me. No, I'm too old inside for that kind of fantasy. I ask because I'm tired of getting close to people who only love the idea of me. I'm tired of the smile that comes with an angle, the softness that hides a hook, the affection that disappears the moment you stop being useful. So I did something almost embarrassing. I stopped performing. I stopped being the man with answers. I stopped being the man who controls everything. And I just whispered into the dark, God, if there's a woman meant for me, if there's someone I can love without losing myself, show me what's real. I didn't ask for a name because I've learned something. Names can be wrong, faces can lie, but peace doesn't fake itself. The moment I asked, the room didn't change. No thunder, no voice booming through the ceiling, just stillness. And in that stillness, it felt like something inside me finally unclenched, like my heart had been holding its breath, music for years and didn't even realize it. And then the answer came the way the truest things always come. Not loud, simple, almost painfully simple. It wasn't go find the most beautiful woman. It wasn't go find someone who impresses your friends. It wasn't even go find someone who understands your world. It felt more like stop chasing, start choosing. Choose the one who feels like safety. Choose the nay who isn't trying to win. Choose the one who doesn't need to be seen to be valuable. And then this part hit me so hard I had to look away like I'd been caught. Not every door is meant for you. I sat there staring at my own hands, thinking about all the doors I've walked through just because I could, all the rooms I've entered, all the conversations where people smiled like they loved me. And I still left feeling emptier because some doors open into places that drain you. Some doors open into love that's really just hunger. And another thought settled in quiet, steady, heavy. Be careful with flattery because flattery feels warm at first. Like sunlight, but it's not sunlight, it's a spotlight. And spotlights don't keep you warm when the night comes. A woman meant for me wouldn't be the one who screams my name. She'd be the one who says it softly when nobody's watching, when there's nothing to gain. She wouldn't be chasing a story. She'd be living a life, and she'd have something in her, something I don't see enough of. Discernment, the ability to feel what's true without needing proof, the ability to look at a man who has the whole world staring at him and still see the parts of him that are just human, tired, wounded, trying. I'll tell you something that sounds small, but it isn't. When I imagined my future wife, the feeling of her, I didn't imagine applause. I imagined silence that wasn't lonely. A quiet morning where the air is gentle, where someone moves around the kitchen without fear, where I don't have to explain why I'm distant sometimes, where I can just exist. And God help me, I want that. I want to come home and not feel like I have to earn my place in some Nay's heart, because I'm tired of being evaluated, tired of being handled, tired of being loved like a machine. I don't want a woman who's impressed by my world. I want a woman who can look at my world and say, none of that matters to me. Come here, sit down, tell me what hurts. And maybe you think that's too much to ask. Maybe you've been alone long enough that even the idea of being chosen feels suspicious. But I'm not asking for perfect. I'm asking for real. The kind of real that doesn't panic when life gets quiet. The kind of real that doesn't run when the mask falls off. The kind of real that can hold a tired man's heart without turning it into a weapon. So let me ask you, just between us in this quiet, when you pray, when you whisper into the dark the way I just did, do you ever feel like the answer isn't a person, but a feeling you've been waiting for your whole life? Like peace, like safety, like home? After that night, I stopped asking for a sign outside of me. Because the truth is, the loudest lies I've ever heard came dressed up like certainty. But the real answers, they arrived like a hand on your shoulder. Soft, steady, impossible to explain, but impossible to ignore. And what I felt, what I understood, wasn't some perfect picture of a woman. It was more like a list of quiet truths. As if God wasn't saying, here's her name, he was saying, here's how she will feel, here's how you will know, end quote. Race probs. And I keep coming back to one thing. She won't try to take from me, not my energy, not my peace, not my dignity. She won't act like love is a negotiation because she's not hungry like that. She's not the kind of woman who needs to be chosen just to prove she still matters. She already knows she matters. And that right there might be the rarest thing in the world. A woman who doesn't need to compete, a woman who doesn't need to show off, a woman who doesn't need to win love by becoming someone else. She just is. And she's strong in a way that doesn't make noise. The kind of strength you get from surviving years where nobody rescued you. The kind of strength you get from being disappointed and still waking up kind. The kind of strength you get from carrying a life on your back and not turning into a hard person because of it. That's what he showed me. Not glamour, depth, not youth, truth, not perfection, character. And I'll confess something that makes me feel almost ashamed to admit. I don't want to be adored. I want to be safe. I want a woman who can look at my life, the attention, the distance, the constant demand, and not get drunk on it, not get pulled into it, not start measuring her worth by how close she stands to my shadow. I want someone who keeps her own center, someone who can say that world is loud, but we don't have to live in it. Where their Argra first stated, because I've seen what happens when love becomes a stage. It turns into performance, into pressure, into jealousy, into control dressed up as devotion, and I can't do that again. I want the woman who would rather hold my hand in a quiet hallway than pose beside me in a bright room. The woman who values privacy more than praise. The woman who understands that some of the sweetest love is the love nobody knows about. And there was another thing. This one felt so clear it almost hurt. She won't chase me. Not because she doesn't care, but because he respects herself too much to run after someone who isn't choosing her. And I think that's what I've been waiting for. Not pursuit, presence, not obsession, peace. I keep imagining her like this. Not dressed up, just comfortable. Hair pulled back, sleeves rolled up, doing something ordinary and somehow making the ordinary feel like it matters. And when she looks at me, it's not with hunger, it's not with calculation. It's like she sees the boy inside the man, the one who learned too early that people don't always stay, the one who learned to build things because building felt safer than trusting. The one who still after everything wants a simple thing to be loved without being used. And if you're listening, if you're really here with me, I wonder if you recognize yourself in any of this, because this is what I believe God was trying to say. Your value isn't loud, it's deep. You're not the kind of woman who belongs to the crowd. You belong to the quiet, to the real, to a love that doesn't drain you, a love that doesn't test you just to feel powerful, a love that doesn't punish you for having needs. And I want to tell you something no one tells women enough, especially once the world starts acting like they should settle for less. You don't have to accept crumbs. You don't have to be chosen last. You don't have to prove you're still worth being loved. The woman meant for me wouldn't beg. She wouldn't audition. She wouldn't perform softness to earn safety. She'd simply bring her whole self, and I would meet her there, not with games, not with confusion, not with distance that pretends to be mysterious. I would meet her with clarity, with consistency, with a that finally stops running. So let me ask you something that matters. If a man like me, tired, guarded, surrounded by noise, looked you in the eyes and said, I don't want the world tonight, I want you, and I think you, would you believe him? Or would you assume it has to be a trap? Because life has taught you that real love never comes without a price. I need to tell you the truth plain, without the armor. I'm not afraid of being alone in a house like this. I'm used to empty rooms. I'm afraid of something worse. I'm afraid of finally finding someone real and not knowing how to keep her safe from everything that comes with me. Because the world doesn't just watch. It pulls. It pulls at a woman's confidence. It pulls at her peace. It pulls at her patience. It whispers comparisons in her ear when she's already tired. It turns private love into public sport. It makes people feel entitled to things that don't belong to them. And if you're the woman I've been praying about, I don't want you swallowed by that. I don't want you to wake up one day and realize you've been competing with ghosts, with headlines, with strangers, with expectations that never stop moving. I don't want your heart turned into a battlefield just because you dared to love a man who can't always hide. That's why my fear isn't losing the world. The world has never truly been mine. My fear is losing you, not to another man, to exhaustion, to doubt, to the slow, invisible erosion that happens when love isn't protected. Because I know what I look like from the outside, a man who seems untouchable, a man people project their fantasies onto, a man who appears like he never needs anything. But the truth is, I need the same thing everyone needs. I need one person who doesn't treat my heart like a prize. One person who can sit with me when I'm quiet and not punish me for it. One person who understands that sometimes silence isn't rejection, sometimes it's just fatigue. And I think that's why the question that keeps haunting me isn't, will she love me? It's, will she still love me when loving me isn't easy? When the shine wears off, when the noise gets loud, when the days are heavy, when I come home looking tired instead of impressive, because I don't want a love that only works in perfect weather. I want the kind of love that can hold steady through sickness and hardship. Not in some dramatic way, in the real way, the quiet way, the way that looks like a hand on my back when I'm not myself. A voice saying, eat something, a simple, I'm here when everything else feels uncertain. And I'll tell you something else, I don't want a woman who disappears into me. I don't want you to lose yourself in music trying to fit into my life. I want you to stay you, to keep your routines, your boundaries, your quiet joys. Because a woman like you, after everything you've been through, you don't need a man to become your whole world. Music, you need a man who respects the world you've already built inside yourself. So if God really is guiding me toward my future wife, then I believe he's guiding me toward a woman who knows the difference between love and obsession, a woman who music won't chase, a woman who won't beg, a woman who won't trade her dignity for a place in someone's life, and snorts that kind of woman. She terrifies music, me.